Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. I'm Ed, along with Brad and Justin, and tonight a special guest, Dan, is jumping in with us, and we're going to go through our first rookie mock draft of the year. We're going to set this up a little differently than sometimes, and so we have 6 rounds of 4 picks each, which will take us through the first 24 players. And so anxious to see what each of these guys think of the rookies just post, the combine, which just ended last week. And so I guess we all have our ideas of where players land, and maybe we'll see if the Anthony Richardson hype train is upon us, and can't wait to see how early he goes. We're going to have Justin pick 1. Dan's going to pick 2. I'm going to be at pick 3, and Brad's going to finish at pick 4. So he's kind of taking the sloppy leftovers, tonight. And, we're real excited for the new year coming about. And so we're getting ready for the lottery drawings in each of our leagues. So that's coming up next week. And real excited for the new year. So I guess without further ado, let's get started. And Justin, you're going to go on the clock, 2 minutes a pick. And that gives you a little bit of time to say why you picked the player and what you're thinking. And I guess as the draft goes, it'll get quicker. But I'll let you start us off, Justin, as I just put you on the clock.
All righty. Well, my pick is going to be Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. He ran a 4.46 in the 40-yard dash, 37-inch vertical, 10 foot 7 inches, and the broad jump, which is pretty good. And at his size and the ability to this breakaway speed there of 4.46, I can definitely see him being a huge impact.
So Dan is now up after Bijan comes off the board.
Well, Justin took my guy, so I am going to jump on the Anthony Richardson train and take him as the first quarterback off the board. I took him because I think he has the most upside as of right now. And I'm pretty deep at quarterback, so I figured I could hold off a year if he doesn't start and perhaps get the best quarterback in the draft.
So Dan is going to go on a need-based approach for his draft, and so I'm going to probably throw the first curveball then, with the way it sounds, as I'm going to go off the map here a little bit, and I'm going to take C.J. Stroud as my quarterback. The size of Bryce Young scared me off a little bit, and I just want what I think is maybe one of the better athletes on the board at this point. So as normal, I had him number 3 on my list, and so kind of interesting. 1, 2, and 3 on my list went exactly in the order. So that's kind of how we've gone so far. So Brad, to you.
I guess the first 3 picks were kind of not expected for me. So I'll take Bryce with the 4th pick. I personally think he's going to be the best player in the draft. So I think him sliding to the 4 is going to be a deep slide, honestly. So I'll enjoy him if I get him at the 4. That's for sure.
Back to you, Justin.
The second pick, Anthony Richardson, was actually going to be my pick here. But I am going to go with Will Levis, the Kentucky quarterback. Just based on pretty much need a quarterback for this team, and that's what I'm going to go with.
All right. Interesting. We got a running back and 4 quarterbacks right off the board right after that, which is exactly how I had him on my list. So that's interesting. Dan, to you.
All right, here. Again, Justin took the guy I would have taken, but I am going to go Jahmyr Gibbs, more based on a need, hoping that he is the Kenneth Walker of the draft, is what I am hoping to get out of here.
Well, I guess we're going to go, and I'm going to take my wide receiver one on the board. Probably not the wide receiver one that most people take here. So I'm going to take Quentin Johnson as my wide receiver one. So that may be a curveball to some, but that's where that's who I have number one on my board currently. I mean, I think a lot of this I refer to the NFL. So, like, whoever is the first receiver taken in the NFL will probably be mine as well, but that's where we're going to kind of go here. Brad, do you go?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the receiver at the 4 here. I'm going to go with Addison, actually, instead of Jackson. I think Addison's speed at the combine was a little bit of an issue, but I think once he gets into the game, it's going to be a lot like a Devonta Smith type of guy, and he'll be good.
Okay, Justin, to you.
Well, I'm gonna go with Jackson Smith, Najiba.
Yeah.
For my wide receiver here, pretty agile wide receiver, even though he's coming off a hamstring injury. So just again, based on a need, I'm going to draft Jackson here.
And once again, this year's draft, I'm going to take the top tight end and Michael Mayer, 2 tight end premium league. Being able to pick him up in the 10th pick, I feel is a steal. So he is my guy at 3.2.
I'm anxious to see actually if Michael Mayer goes as the top tight end in the NFL draft. I saw some mocks with
Brad, you're crazy. You're crazy.
Kincaid being there, so as the top tight end. So I'm gonna kind of take value. This is kind of my thing in rookie draft. So I have 9th on my board, and so where are we right now? We're at the pick 11. So 9th on my board was Zach Charbonnet. So I'll kind of run up to the board with him, with Zach Charbonnet still on the board, and put my sticker there. So we're kind of getting to the end of round 1 in a 12-team league right now. So these all people, would be in the first round. And so, yeah, I'm going to run to the board. Brad, for number 12. Well, tell us a little bit about that pick, Brad. You're on mute, Brad.
I'm taking Darnell Washington with that pick. I'm thinking if you thought Anthony Richardson had a good combine, Darnell Washington did just as well from the tight end spot and has actual college stats to back up what he did. So I think he's going to be the best tight end in this draft.
Okay, that'll be interesting. I'm not even familiar with Washington, so more than I heard a little bit of, I guess, some stuff on him this week, but before that I hadn't really paid attention. So I'll be interested to pick your brain over the next couple of weeks and see how he rises. Justin, to you. I'm sorry I took your time there.
Oh yeah.
Well, I am going to go after the running back out of Ole Miss. 5'11", 195 pounds, carried the ball 144 times for 936 yards, and another 12 catches for 199 yards. So he's definitely a nice pass catcher. So I'm going to go with Zach Evans here.
I am going to go quarterback again in this round, and I am going to take Hendon Hooker because I feel that he probably would have been top 2 quarterbacks in this draft if he didn't get his ACL injury. And I think that he's going to come back strong. I think he's going to be later round draft pick to a team that can let him sit for a year. And then I think he's going to be in a pretty good situation, maybe the best situation on all of them when it's all said and done.
Well, here I am gonna go, another wide receiver at this point. So I'm gonna take Hyatt here. Jalen Hyatt. I feel like he has the ability to be one of the top receivers in the class, and so I'm just gonna keep pounding on these potential X receivers and take him here.
Yeah, that I was gonna take Hyatt until you took him, but with my pick, I think I'm gonna go with Tank. I think he's got a Derrick Henry type of build in him. If he lands in the right spot, he might become a true workhorse.
So somewhere like the San Diego Chargers or
the Titans, since they're shopping Henry.
Well, I was thinking more for the scat back guys that are like the Lions or somewhere where they have like this
it could be
third down plus back that's their feature right now, and if they had like a between the tackles pounder to go along with it, yeah. All right, Justin, to you. 17.
Well, I'm going to go with the next guy on my list here. Keyshawn Boyett. He's a 6 foot wide receiver. So I'm going to take him. Over to Dan.
I am going to go with the next receiver on, who I thought actually you were going to take, Justin, but he sits right there pretty for me, and I'll take Josh Downs right here. Add him to my repertoire of wonderful draft class that I have right here.
Well, I guess I feel like Zay Flowers has slid here a little bit, so I'm going to take him. Again, I feel like he's got a chance to be, fairly special as well. So, yeah, that's. I like Downs though too. I had Downs right ahead of him, so that was my pick. If you didn't take him,
yeah. With my pick, I think I'd go another running back and take Sean Tucker. I think
I like him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's at the 20 pick. So here, these are the last 4 picks of a standard 12-team second round draft. So anxiously, you're going to go pick 21, Justin.
Well, I'm going to go with the running back from TCU, Kendre Miller.
Miller? Okay.
Yeah. Carried the ball 224 times for just under 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns. 6 foot, 220 pound back out of TCU's. Not a bad little running back there. Over Dan.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up with the running back myself, but I'm going with Tyjae Spears. He had the best Senior Bowl out of all the running backs. He comes in with some experience. I think that he will be not an early down back, but he'll be a good third down role, and I think he eventually takes a starting spot.
Yeah, I like him.
Well, when we're at pick 23, I figure I'm going to take the biggest guy that I think was at the combine in the skill position, and so I'm going to take quarterback Tanner McKee at 6'6", but I hear that he's every bit of 6'6". It has like these humongous hands and his wingspan's humongous, and so that's where I go with pick number 23.
Gotcha. I guess I'll end it with a running back again. I mean, I feel like this year's pretty deep with running backs, so I'm going to go with Israel Abanikanda. Actually, I think he's going to be a running back to watch, depending on where he goes.
So I guess I'd like to just kind of go through, and I know that these aren't really our teams because we're really just kind of trying to get 2 rounds out, and wanted to kind of have it go. We go through them and we sort of go down our draft board. But Justin, when you look at the picks, were you surprised that you had picks? And I guess I'll throw this ball to each of you guys. But were you surprised on who you were left with at these spots, or did you feel like, hey, I was just taking guys at value every time?
I kind of figured that Will Levis will be there, considering he was one of the top 4 quarterbacks coming into the draft. I actually thought Anthony Richardson might be there at the 5th pick, but he was the first quarterback that went off the board. Was a little surprised on that pick there. But Bijan Robinson, I thought, was a no-brainer. I don't care where he goes. It might be next year. Might be towards the end of his first year where it actually takes over backfield. But I think he's a key player that will help change the team around. So that's why I took him on.
I feel like JSN was a great pick at pick 9, like 109. I think if you can get JSN, or if I can get JSN at 109, I think I'm running to the board, and putting my sticker up. Like, I feel like that's a great pick. So, once you get down the list, Evans and Boutte and Miller, I mean, I thought they were all good, and I think I would see myself taking all those guys there. The top of the board, you're going to take the guys that are there. So I agree. How about you, Dan? You kind of went with Anthony Richards at 2, and I had him number 2 on my list too. It's kind of funny. I thought maybe I was going to be a little bit off the board with how I had things ranked. So tell me about that.
A lot of it, I guess, would depend on where your roster sits. You know what I mean? If you need a quarterback that's going to come in, start right away, you're probably better off with a C.J. Stroud type player who probably is ready to go. But as far as, if you got 2 or 3 quarterbacks and you're willing to wait, the risk reward, I feel, is much higher for Anthony Richardson, considering his athletic ability. And then when I get into the 3rd, 4th rounds, I feel like I just try to take the best player available at the position, regardless of need. But I feel like Justin does it. Bijan, if you got the 1 pick and he seems to be the slam dunk in the draft, where the next 4 quarterbacks, only 50% of the first round quarterbacks really amount to much. So you're really just flipping a coin on who you draft, where if you can get a home run guy with that 1-1, that's definitely a position you don't want to mess up. But
do you feel like Gibbs is ahead of the receiver?
I just feel like running backs, when you start to get into the 2nd and 3rd rounds, are, I mean, you could get an Isaiah Spiller, or you can get a Tyler Algier. You know what I mean? Where, last year, 2nd round, you had Dotson fall. You got guys like Alex Pierce late in the draft. I mean, you had the kid from Pittsburgh, Pickens. There's just so many more wide receivers to pick from than I feel running backs. And if you can get a running back that you feel can start early or late in the 1st round, you got to take them.
Perfect. And then you took Hooker, basically second round kind of pick, and I guess you did get Mayer there, first tight end off the board. And we play in a 2 tight end, 3-point PPR premium, so that makes a lot of sense to go get a tight end early. Like that is a real thing that happens in our kinds of leagues. And then you came back with a quarterback and had a receiver, and then finished your 2nd round with a running back. And I'm guessing the running back would have to do with landing spots. Like if Spears goes somewhere where you think he could be like Algier and start, that would make that pick make a lot of sense. And if it's, I'm going to go be, I don't know, Spiller, that doesn't look like they're going to have a chance to play much behind Eckler, then you might go a different direction there. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, Spears is a lot. That was a pick based on where I think he is now, but depending on where he goes, you know what I mean? If he's going to be a throw on the bench kind of guy like Spiller is, Of course, I drafted Spiller in a lot of my leagues, hoping, Eckler, he would fill in for Eckler at least a little bit, but that it just never amounted to that. But it's so I say when you can get a running back that you feel can start early in that early to late 1st round pick, you got to grab them, because 2nd round is a coin flip with your running backs.
Oh, yeah, and you got Gibbs to drop to the 1-6 in this. That's pretty crazy. Like,
yeah,
Gibbs has a real chance to be the best running back in this draft.
Yeah, I think the 1-6 that's definitely a good spot. So
But I
Brad,
think
looking
that's
at
where
your
you're going to
team,
see
I
him
mean,
go
you were
in
kind of picking
drafts.
at the very end of us, and I guess I would wonder, were you surprised to see Bryce Young there? I guess that's the first thing. You acted surprised to see him. So
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I thought Bryce was going to be number one. I'm thinking in two QBs. I don't personally think B. John is far enough ahead of everybody to go running back in a 2 QB league like that.
okay, yeah.
And I was hoping Gibbs would fall to me because I think he's going to be the next McCaffrey. So the fact that Bryce ended up falling to me, I think I had to take him there. So yeah, I went him, and then Addison in the second. I think he'll be one of the best receivers, at least the top three. So I don't think I could go wrong there. And then Darnell Washington, I actually think he fell a little bit. I think he'll go mid first once real draft time comes.
Yeah. Well, and if he gets picked in the 15th spot, I saw the first tight end might go around the middle of the first round of the NFL draft, and if all of a sudden that's Washington there, and he's the first tight end off the board, then that'll get somebody's attention. I mean, just that's how it rolls. Like when the NFL speaks, people listen. So I get it. And then I see you hammered in the second round running backs. Is that by design? Is that what you'd like to do, or you think it's a deep class, or what made you hammer running back?
Yeah, that's more just a personal preference. I feel like I can always pick up receivers if I need them, and running backs are a lot harder to find. So figure I might as well go quantity.
So I did wait to just kind of give my observation. So I'm a very much done this now for 3 years in a row. I write a list, and I have my list here 1 through 30. I really go down the list. Like whenever the first 5 or 6 picks were exactly like I had them on my list in exactly the order. And then when somebody reaches a little bit or comes off my list, I go to my next guy up, and never worry about that at all. And then by design in the second round, Dan alluded to this a little bit, I'm convinced that I fade running backs in the second round. Like I want to hammer them early because I think the hit rate is really high. But in the second round, I want to hammer receivers. And yet this year with a kind of weaker receiver class, I actually intend to possibly hammer quarterbacks. Like I feel like that, assuming they go in the second round of the NFL draft, then I'm going to draft them in the second round of rookie drafts. If they go in the third round of the NFL draft, then that's where I'm going to draft them. Because I look back at last year, and all those guys that were going in the second round of our rookie drafts were going in the third or fourth round of the NFL draft. So that was too early, and they were going too early because there wasn't quarterbacks. But I got a ton of Sam Howell because he went later. And so I got him in the third and fourth round of rookie drafts. And so now this year I feel like I smile with my Sam Howell shares, where I think the guys with Willis in the 13th or 14th pick, when I'm taking guys like Dotson and Pickens, I think they're like, or Pierce, I'm taking those kind of guys, and they're taking, those quarterbacks. They have Matt Corral coming off the board. And so I guess that's also by design. And I feel like some places I've seen like Hyatt might be the top NFL receiver to go. So that kind of took him there. I saw Flowers, might be a first round pick. And I'm thinking if they're first round NFL picks and I can get them in the second round of rookie drafts, I'm going to have to run to the board. Like, I think I do a lot of listening to what the NFL does. Like, not every time, but if the NFL drafts a first round running back, then we elevate them to the top of the list. Like that usually works. If the NFL drafts first round receivers, they can be Jalen Reagor. I mean, don't get me wrong, they can be N'Keal Harry, but they can also be Justin Jefferson. So you may as well run up to the board and throw the dart at it because it's got a good shot, good hit rate of, and if you can get it in the second round, then I think it's pretty good. So that's kind of my observation. I'm excited to see how we progress to the next round of these things. So I'm going to just kind of end our recording for now. And, but thank you guys for hanging out for a couple minutes and going through a mock draft. So that's Justin, Brad, Dan, and I'm Ed. And so long for now.